I have a feeling that Chioma has a hand in the disappearance of my son. I used to drop my house keys for my neighbor Chioma to give my kids whenever they returned from school because they usually return 2 hours before my work closing time. Chioma is a single lady in her late 30s. She has been staying in my compound for about a year and 6 months, and ever since she moved into my compound, she has been showing unconditional love to my 3 kids. She would buy them cloths, dash them money, give me assorted meals to feed them, claiming she didn't have appetite to finish what she cooked. Although I was always wondering what kind of work Chioma was doing because she looked rich, was always indoor and only goes out at night sometimes. But when I finally asked her, she said she works remote in an international firm. She said her duties were to reply mails and do other stuffs online for the international company, and I believed her. She would always call my children to her house, put cartoons for them to watch, take them out alone and bring them back to me with a lot of goodies, treated them like her own children, which got me so relaxed letting my kids be around her. I assumed that she had natural love for the kids and was probably taking them as hers since she was growing old without a child of her own, and stopping my children from going to her would have hurt her feelings. I kept being free with her until something unimaginable happened. Continuation. One day, I gave Chioma my house key to drop for my children as usual before leaving for work, but when I returned home, I only saw my first daughter and second son in the house. "Where is your brother, Dubum?" I asked, looking anxious because my house is small and I used to always meet them together every time I returned from work. "Mummy, we don't know where Dubum went to. We were just here playing and he went outside to wee-wee but did not return," my 10-year-old daughter said, and I began to panic. "What do you mean by that? Have you checked everywhere?" "He must be in Auntie Chioma's house," I said, but they said they had looked for him everywhere, even in Auntie Chioma's house, but they didn't see him. I ran straight to Chioma's house and she was there pressing her phone, but Dubum was not there. "Mama Dubum, I gave your children the key as I used to do, and they all went to your house. None of them came back here after leaving," she said, looking less concerned, and I flinged my shoes out of my leg and began to run around like a lunatic. "Dubum, Dubé, Mummy. Dubum, where are you? Come out, your mummy is back," I screamed repeatedly as I went into all the nooks and crannies of my neighborhood, but Dubum was nowhere to be found, loudly crying face. "Oh Lord, don't let me see shame," I shouted as I cried, but my tears couldn't help me find Dubum. I called my husband to his workstation, but he warned me to make sure I look for his child before he returns, otherwise he will skin me alive. Within few hours, the news had spread the whole city like a wildfire. Women from my church and from my workplace ran to my house and began to console me, but I couldn't rest nor sleep throughout that night. The next day, I woke up very early and continued my search for Dubum, and even reported to the police. "Where is Dubum?" loudly crying face. The police told me they were not going to file the missing person report or move in search of Dubum until it is up to 24 hours, which sounded like to wait a full year to me, and I couldn't wait. So I extended my search to other neighboring cities, and Chioma came along and moved around with me, but Dubum was nowhere to be found, loudly crying face. "Dubé, Mummy, where are you? Nah, come to Mummy, please," loudly crying face. I cried, prayed, and screamed throughout the night till I got exhausted and passed out. As soon as the third day broke, I ran back to the police and reminded them that it was already way past 24 hours, and I wasn't going to leave them until they go out in search of my son. So they followed me to my compound. "Everyone is a suspect, so we will have to start by interrogating everybody in this compound," their boss said as he began by asking my other children questions about how Dubum left and where he normally goes to play. They went around all the apartments to interrogate our neighbors. Then it got to Chioma's house, and I told the police that Dubum and my other kids were always fond of being with her, and she got angry. "Madam, why will you say that? Do you think I am the one that kidnapped your child? Or is it because I was always helping you and your children?" she said angrily, and I smirked. "Chioma, right? When last did you see Dubum?" the police officer asked, and she said it was when they went for their key, and she gave them the key through window without coming out of the house, and my first daughter confirmed it to be true. Then the police officer turned to me. "Where is your husband, madam? We need to interrogate him because everyone is a suspect in this matter until the culprit has been apprehended," he said. "But my husband is an army man that works very far away. He only comes home once in a long while." "But what makes you think that a father would kidnap his own son?" I asked, looking odd, but the man insisted that they needed to interrogate my husband first before proceeding. I quickly put a call across to my husband and told him what the police had said, and he got angry. What kind of daft joke is that? Are they crazy? Why would they want to see me before they can proceed with the search for Dubum? My husband yelled angrily, and I just stayed silent till he finished yelling and hung up. So I turned to the policemen and began to plead. Officers, please. You shouldn't wait to see my husband before you continue to search for my son, because time is going and my husband is very far away. I pleaded as they moved towards their van. Then my husband called back and commands me to give my phone to the officer in charge, and I put it on speaker before doing so. Good day, officer. My wife told me what you said, but I am far in Borno State, and due to the nature of my job as a soldier, I can't just start coming back on my own. So please do whatever you can to bring back my son. My husband pleaded, and the officers reluctantly agreed. Then my husband called again on WhatsApp video call for the officers to see his face, and he also collected their phone numbers. After the call, the officer turned to me and said, "Madam, from our conversations with your neighbors, none of them around here took your son Dubum. Maybe he just went out to play and then missed his way back home." One of the officers said, "He might even be wandering about in some streets of Abakaliki, but we will try our best to use the picture you gave us to find him." Another officer added as they went into their van and zoomed off. A lot of people in my area came out in their numbers to give me their support. Tears kept rolling down my cheeks uncontrollably. We had already spread Dubum's pictures across all social media platforms from the first day he went missing. So I just made missing child flyers and pasted on every bus stop, electric poles and junctions with the help of some youths. But to my greatest surprise, what started like a joke passed 5 months, and everybody's hope of seeing Dubum again gradually died, but I never gave up. Something in me kept telling me that I would see Dubum again one day. Please follow for more. God bless you.